My conversation today on Inside the Wounds is with Jason Evans. He's the vocalist of Ingested, he's a songwriter, and he's a Warhammer enthusiast. Today, we're talking about how life growing up in Manchester created the monster necessary to be the frontman of Ingested. I'm Joaquin Rodriguez, and this is Inside the Wounds with the Slam King himself.
We've been so busy since just after COVID, after all the COVID lockdowns and stuff ended. We've basically just been on tour, like, constantly. I mean, we've had, like, a month at home here or a couple of weeks at home there. But, yeah, this is, like, our first, like, proper time off, like, since then, really. We had, like, I think we had, like, 2 months off over Christmas, but that was it, really.
Wow.
In like 3 years. So yeah, having this time off's been awesome, and it's great because it's like it's coincided with the school holidays, the school summer holidays over here. So I'm getting to spend like the entire summer holidays with my family and my wife and kids. So that's really cool. That's really nice. So yeah, it's nice putting my feet up and relaxing after a good 3 years of hard graft.
Hell yeah, dude. Absolutely, dude. I totally understand, man. And I mean, from what Sean was telling me too, it seems like these past 2 years for you guys have been really starting to feel, I would say, a bit more comfortable for the band in the sense of like stability.
Yeah.
Do you really starting to feel that as well?
Yeah, definitely. Every year is more successful than the one preceding it, which is great because, you know, that shows that we are getting somewhere. Like, you know, I mean, we've been a band for like nearly 20 years now.
Yeah.
But it's only in like the past, I don't know, maybe 5 years where, I don't know, something's happened. I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know what it is, but like people are starting to like take notice of who we are and what we're doing, and that feels really good. Like, it feels really, really good, because we love this. Like, we wouldn't do it if we didn't love it. Do you know what I mean? We could go out and get a normal job and just live comfortably, just doing what most other people do, but we love this too much. Do you know what I mean? Like, so it's like, it's nice to finally see some measure of success after all the hard work and everything that we've put in. And like I said, it seems to be getting bigger and better every single year. So yeah, I just want to see how far it is we could take it. I mean, we never thought that we'd even get to this point where we're doing what we love as a career, like, which is wild. Do you know what I mean? Like, we never thought that'd happen. But here we are.
It's beautiful.
I think it's a testament to our work ethic, really, though. It's just like, because I think a lot of bands that would have been told no and you're not good enough as many times as we got told that, like in the first 10 years of us being a band, they'd have given up. Like, do you know what I mean? But we never did, because we loved it so much. And we were just like, and the more you tell us no, and the more you tell us that we can't do something, or that we're not good enough to do something, the more we're going to do it just to prove you wrong. Like, because that's how we are. Like, 100%. We basically, like, we've built Ingested on a foundation of hard work, love of death metal, and pure unbridled spite for everyone who's told us that we're shit.
That is so awesome. I love that. I fucking love that. That is beautifully put. I love that a lot. Well, hey, that's a good segue. Let's start getting into a little bit of the backstory of the band and yourself. So let's start out by, let me ask you this. How was it like growing up in Manchester?
It was all right. I mean, for me personally, I mean, we all come from working class backgrounds, but I lived in a council estate. I lived in a council house in a council estate with my mum, because my parents were split up. So we never had fucking money. We were like poor as shit. So everything like I ever wanted, I was told, well, if you want something, you better go out and earn it. Like, do you know what I mean? Because we ain't got no money. So I think that's like part of the mentality that's still ingrained in who we are as a band, that nothing's ever been given to us, ever. Like, everything we've got, we've had to go out and we've had to fight tooth and nail and scratch and claw for it. Do you know what I mean? But we've earned everything we've got. We've never been given a handout. We've never been given a leg up. But for me, I'm used to that shit. Do you know what I mean? Because that's my childhood. That's like where I came from. Never being given anything, like having to go out and earn it. But yeah, like growing up in Manchester, it was just, I mean, I was a poor kid surrounded by poor people. Like council estate, everyone's poor. Do you know what I mean? They're all working lower class. So it was like, that was just the normality of it. So it's, you know, it's always just got to be that way. Like, I'd say, oh, it was rough and it was hard. And it was like, well, it was no harder than anybody else. Do you know what I mean? It was sort of like everyone was in the same fucking boat where I'm from. So, but school was shit. Do you know what I mean? Being a metalhead in high school in the late 90s and early 2000s, metal wasn't as accepted and as cool as it is now. Do you know what I mean? So it was like me and my friends, we were literally the outcasts. Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, now it's like, you know, everyone says like, oh, metal, they're the outcasts. And it's like, well, yeah, but not like it was when I was a kid. Like, we used to get the shit kicked out of us. We used to get beat the fuck up just because we fucking wore band t-shirts or just because we listened to metal. Like, do you know what I mean? It wasn't like as mainstream as it is now, which I think is great. I think it's great that it's mainstream now and that it's way more accepted, because it's just music and clothes at the end of the day, innit? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it was fucking brutal. Like, one of my mates got put in fucking hospital by some fucking assholes, like fucking smashed him over the head with a fucking metal bar. We were only like 14 at the time as well. So it was like, yeah, there's a lot of fucking violence, a lot of bullying and shit. But then again, it's sort of like, that's another thing where it can, in my opinion, it can either, it'll make you or break you. Do you know what I mean? You'll either stay a bully victim for the rest of your life, or it'll toughen you up, and then you'll start fighting back. And that's what we had to do. That's what we had to do. We had to start fighting back, and then it's sort of like once you start fighting back, and like the people who are gonna bully you realize that it's like it's not gonna be easy. Do you know what I mean? They'll just stop, because they're not looking for a hard time. They're looking for a target. Right. Do you know what I mean? And as soon as they know that, oh, don't mess with those guys, they're gonna fight back, and we're just gonna end up having a fight. It's not gonna be like, oh, I'll just whip a fucking knife out or whatever and just fucking tell them to give me the money or whatever. It's not gonna be that. It's gonna be a fight, and then they'll just leave it. Yeah. But I mean, that's the shit that we have to deal with, like growing up. Yeah. Like, because I'm like, what now? I'm 38, I think. 37. I don't even know how old I am. Look, this is how old I am. I don't know how old I am. So it was like, this was a long time ago. This was like 2001. So, but yeah, that was it. It was no money, loads of violence everywhere. Like, yeah, and that was it. That was growing up in Manchester. So actually, it was all right. But I think like that shit shapes you, though. Do you know what I mean? It's not something that I've never like sat down and gone, oh, I wish my life was different. I wish I was born somewhere else. Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like everything that you go through in life, whether it's good or bad, that shapes you into the person that you become and sets you on the path that you're on. So I think, like, you know, if I hadn't have grown up in a shitty council estate in a suburb of Manchester, and I hadn't been a metalhead, and I hadn't dealt with all the fucking chavvies, scallies or whatever, like, and all the violence and shit, like, I wouldn't wouldn't be where I am now. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't be doing the band that I'm doing, which I love as a career. I wouldn't be married to my wife and have the kids that I have. I wouldn't be living in this house now. I wouldn't even be sitting here talking to you. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If all of those things hadn't have fallen into place and gone the way that they did. So yeah, it was rough. Yeah, it was hard, but it was no harder than all the other millions of people that live shitty childhoods and probably even worse childhoods. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's no harder than that, but it's like, it's made me into the person that I am today, and it's got me to where I'm at, and hopefully where I'm gonna be, like where we want to take Ingested. So yeah,
Totally. And I love the fact that you're looking at it as fueling your motivation, fueling like the discipline and everything, and having that drive you forward. Because obviously it's working. Obviously you've turned all the negativity into something positive, basically using it as fuel to create positivity in your life. You know what I mean?
Of course, absolutely.
And it's so easy to do the opposite and let that destroy you. But you're the perfect example of letting that fuel your success, and that's a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, because it's like, look, here's the thing as well. It's like we all, I think especially like when you're a parent, like me and Sean, we're parents, we've got kids. It's all like you do want when you have them kids, you do realize that I want to give them more than what I had. Like, I want to make it better for them growing up. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's like I work hard because I love my band and I want it to be successful and I love what I do. But I love my kids more, and I want to give them the start that I didn't get. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, so I do it for them as well. Like, and yeah, it boils down to all that shit, like where you come from, and like you said, using it as fuel for the fire, using it as the petrol in the engine that gets you motivated to go out for months on end on tour and shit. And it's like, because that shit's hard. It wasn't so hard back in the day, like when I didn't have a wife and kids. Do you know what I mean? But now I have got a wife and kids, and it's like every time I go on tour, I have to leave them for like 5 weeks, 6 weeks, like sometimes 7 weeks. And it's like, that's brutal, but I have to remember why I'm doing it, because I love it and because I want to give my kids a good life. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah,
of course. And how do y'all go about that dynamic, that family dynamic, like going from Jason from Ingested to Jason, the father and husband?
Well, they're both aspects of my personality, but the me that's on stage is not the me that's off stage. I have to compartmentalize that part of my personality, because that's where all that shit that we were talking about before, like that's where all the shit that I went through when I was a kid and growing up and a teenager and all that shit and all that anger and all that animosity and all that spite that I feel from those days, like that's obviously that's never going to just go away, because it's part of who you are, isn't it? It's part of your makeup, like we were saying before. It makes you who you are. But I compartmentalize all that shit and keep that part of my personality locked away, so that when I do go on stage, I can unlock that padlock, open that cage door, and then let that motherfucker out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because then as soon as I get off stage, then it's like put him back in the box, and then he's asleep.
Yeah.
Then he's sleeping until the next show, like, because I feel like a lot, like you see it often, and a lot of like people who are in like the music industry and stuff, they can become their gimmick. Do you know what I mean? They start living who they are on stage, and their stage persona and their real life persona start to blend, and then that's when there's problems. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's like you see it everywhere. You see it all over the fucking show, like in all forms of entertainment. And then that's when people go off the rails. Like, I know because that started to happen to me, like, years ago in, like, I think it was, like, 2016. Like, I started merging those two personalities, and it just was not good. It was horrible. It was like I ended up fucking having problems with fucking drugs and alcohol. I ended up fucking getting into fights and stuff like that, and it was just like, it just got to the point where I'd hit rock bottom, and I'd had to fucking realize like what the fuck it was going on, and then understand it, and then take steps to make sure that would never happen again. And it's like, it's dangerous. So I understand why it happens. Like, I understand how it can happen, but I also realize that, at least for me, I know what I have to do to stop that shit from happening. And that's put him away in a box and let him out once a night and then put him back straight away. Like, do you know what I mean? But since then, it's like, my life's been a lot better. Like, do you know what I mean? I had like a rough few years where that was happening, where I was living the gimmick, so to speak. And it did me no favors, like, but I can see how easily it happens, because it's like, you're on stage, you think you're a rock star, do you know what I mean? You think that, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to get shit-faced every night. I'm supposed to take all the drugs. I'm supposed to get into fights. Do you know what I mean? It's just, it's not good, man. It's not good, and it's like, you know what I mean? I'd say, oh, it's not me. That's not me, that. But it is. It's part of me. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I have to understand that is part of me to make sure that I keep it under control and shit. But yeah, that's how I do it. I just make sure there's two sides, and I make sure that one of them's locked away, and he only comes out, and I can use it for a positive effect.
Yeah.
And then I put him away before it becomes a negative effect. Like,
yeah.
But because I think as well, I think that's why our live performances are so intense and it's such an entertaining show, is because I'm not pretending. Do you know what I mean? This is what I mean. Like, it's a real part of me. Like, he's a fucking loon. Like, he's a lunatic. Like, so, but because it's real and it is a part of me, I think that, like, comes across live. Like, do you know what I mean? It's not like, it's no bullshit. There's no frills.
Right.
It's like, this is real. And yeah, and then I just make sure he says goodnight, and then I took him in for the night and send him to bed. That's why I stay so happy and smiley all the time.
yeah, absolutely. You know, it's interesting, because I've never heard it put that way. You become your gimmick. Like, I've never heard that before, but I know exactly what you're talking about. And let me ask you this: do you think people become their gimmick because they're afraid of losing what they have, or do you think it's just such a form of therapy? They don't want to live the normal life. They don't want to feel the normal life.
I think it's both, but I think it can be different amounts of that reason for different people. I think it depends on the individual and their personality. Like,
that's fair.
Because, I mean, like, for me, I have a very addictive personality anyway. So, obviously, when drugs and alcohol were flying around, like, it was that easy for me. So, like, that's another part of it as well. But then, obviously, with the drugs and the alcohol, then that changes your mental state as well. So then that makes you think more of yourself. Do you know what I mean? And then the ego comes into it and shit like that. And then it's, and then you have to think, I need to keep up appearances. I need to be the slam king for Ingested, you know, all this bullshit. Like, so I think, well, both things can be true. But I think it also, like I said, I think it depends on the individual's personality as well, like why they do. But there's also other reasons as well. It could be fucking depression involved.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Because like that can cause shit like that as well. Because then you want to become someone else because you don't like the person that you are. So it's like, I don't know. I think it's just a spider web of just dangerous, horrible shit. Like, that's just not good for anyone. Like, so, yeah.
And what helped you realign with yourself, like, kind of like get you back to who you're supposed to be, like, get you disciplined again?
Losing everything. That's how bad it got. I lost everything. I got kicked out of the band for a whole year. Like, I lost my girlfriend, who is now my wife. Like, thank God we got back together. But yeah, I lost everything. I lost my job that I had at the time as well. I literally had nothing. I lost everything, and I was just like, you get to a point where it's sort of like you have this moment of clarity, and you're just like, well, I have there's two places I can go from here. It's like you're on an elevator, and you can either keep going down, and you're probably going to end up dead, or who knows what, but it's not going to be good. Or you can fucking pick yourself up and fucking get everything back. Or you can at least try. And that's what I did. Because I was just like, nah, fuck this. Like, I've lost everything that I love. Like, and for what? For me being a fucking arsehole, taking drugs and getting shit-faced. And, yeah, luckily, I was able to sort myself out. And then I got back with my missus. We're married now. We got 2 kids. I got back in the band, like, which they didn't have to take me back, but they did, because I'd proved that I'd changed, that I'd sorted myself out. But yeah, that was it really. I mean, there's no easy way of saying it, but it was losing everything made me realize, like, how bad's that it got to that point. But it's easily done though. That's the thing. It's so easily done. But I'm lucky that I made the right choice, and I'm lucky that I had my friends and my family around me to fucking take me back when I had sorted myself out, basically.
Right. Yeah. And that's great to hear that you made your way back. You had your comeback moment.
Yeah.
You know, that's really awesome.
My second.
Yep, there you go. That's great to hear, man. I really appreciate you sharing
Thanks,
that
man.
with me. That's awesome. So when did the musicianship start developing for you?
For me, well, when I was growing up, like I said, my mum and dad were split up. So, like, every weekend I'd go to my grandma's, my nana's, which was my dad's mum. She owned a pub in a place called New Mills, which is like some fucking village out in the hills, like out in the countryside. And because that's where my dad lived, so I'd go there every Friday and Saturday and come home on Sunday. So my dad was what he used to do on the side was like being a party DJ. So, you know, like for like weddings, parties, like funerals, like christenings, that sort of thing. He'd DJ and play music for him. So he had this crazy vinyl collection, like, because that's what they used back then, like for the DJing and shit, like. And so I always loved music anyway, like listening to music and stuff, because my dad would always play like loads of like 80s stuff, like Duran Duran, Queen, Kraftwerk, like all that shit. And so I always loved music anyway, just because of what my dad did. But then when I was about 10 years old, I went round to my friend's house for dinner, and my friend had an older brother called Andy, and we were we were just playing around with like wrestling figures or something like that, and I could hear some noise coming from upstairs, and I said to my friend, I'm like, "What's that?" And he said, "Oh, that's my brother. He's listening to like his metal CDs." And I was like, "What's metal?" I was like, "What's that?" Like, I was only about 10 or 11 at the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, "What's that?" Like, I've never heard anything like that. So we go and knock on his bedroom, and his brother Andy opens the door, and he's like, "Well, what?" And my friend David was like, "Oh, Jason wants to know what you're listening to." And then Andy's face like lit up, you know, because it's like, oh, you know, like when you want to show someone a song or show someone a band or some type of music that they've never heard before, and you're just like, "Yo, come and check this." Like, his face lit up like that because he was just like, "Come on in." Like, so we went in, and then he's playing me all these bands, and he was playing me Machine Head, Sepultura, Slayer, Metallica, Pantera. But the first thing that he played was Fear Factory. So Fear Factory was the first metal band I ever heard, ever. But we were in there for hours, and he's just playing us all these metal bands and shit. And then when it came time for me to go home, when my mum came to pick me up, Andy gave me 2 Fear Factory CDs. He gave me Demanufacture and Obsolete, and he was like, "Yeah, borrow these if you want. You can listen to them." So I get home, and then I didn't have, because I said before we were poor, I didn't have like a CD player like Walkman. The only CD player we had was in one of those big like stereos, you know, the like big chunky stereo things with like a tape deck on it and shit. So, but I did have a cassette tape player, like a cassette deck, like Walkman thing.
Yeah.
So I get a load of old tapes that I've got like loads of, I don't know what they were, but they were like, I think they came free with like some magazine or something. So I gets a bit of sellotape and sticks it over the bottom so that I can record on these tapes. And then I recorded both albums like onto these tapes so that I could listen to them, like walking to and from school. And that's where my love of metal started. So from then on, I started wanting to. I saw the Pantera home videos DVD, and I was just like, "Oh my god, I know what I want to do." I was like, "That's what I want to do." So then I was like, "Right, I know that I want to be in a band. I can't play any instruments because I was like, I think it was about 13 when I saw that, and that was when I was like, right, this is what I want to do. And I couldn't play any instruments, so I was like, I need to be in a band. But what do I need to do? So then I was like, right, I'm gonna get a guitar. So I saved up all my birthday and Christmas money that year, and I bought myself this really, really shitty second-hand, like, I don't even know what the fuck it was. It was an electric guitar. Yeah. It's like this coffee-stained fucking electric guitar, and it was 50 quid from like a cash converters, which is like a fucking pawn shop basically. And so I bought that with some shitty little amp. The amp was about 15 quid, I think. And then I goes home and I'm trying to learn guitar, and I was trying to learn it for months and months and months and months and months, and I just couldn't get the hang of it. I was like, this fucking sucks. Like, I can't do this. Just couldn't get my head around it. So then I was like, right, fuck it, I want to play drums. So my auntie had been, since I was born, had been putting like a little bit of money away for me every single year. And then, which was supposed to be for like when I go to college or university or something, right? Yeah. And then on my 15th birthday, I rang her up and I was like, "Can I have that money?" And she was like, "Why?" And I was like, "I know what I want to do with my life." And she was like, "What?" And I said, I want to play drums in a band." And she was like, "Jason, I've been saving this money since the day you were born. It's supposed to be for university or college." And I was like, "This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do." So I got it, and and I spent 200. It was really cheap. It was a lot of money to me, but it was really cheap. Like now, like obviously now I'm in a band, and I know how much like real drum kits cost. So it was 220 quid, and it was this performance percussion, like 5-piece drum kit, and it was like 220 quid, and I was like, yeah, this is it. So I got it, and then I was trying to play drums, and I was all right. I could play it, but like I wasn't good. And I remember I wanted a double kick pedal, but double kick pedals were like 200 quid on their own. So I bought an extra single drum pedal, and then I got a plank of wood and attached both the bass drum pedals to this plank of wood. So they're right next to each other, and then just played double bass with my feet together like this. So then I was playing drums anyway, and I could play some beats and shit, and I could keep time, but I weren't great or anything. And I eventually do get to college, and I'm playing drums for just various bands, but all they want to do is play like Nirvana songs and shit. And I'm like, I want to play Out the Gates, I want to play Slayer and all this shit. Mm-hmm. So I'm playing like Smells Like Teen Spirit, and I'm whacking double kick pedal into it and blast beats and thrash beats and shit, right? So that wasn't working out. And then one of my friends in college called Gary, he comes up to me one day. He played drums as well, but he could actually play drums. And he comes up to me and he's like, "Oh, Jason, do you know anyone who can do like death metal vocals or anything like that? Like, I've just joined like this death metal band, and we're looking for a vocalist." And I was just like, "I'll do it." And he was like, "What, can you do death metal vocals?" I was like, "Yeah." No idea if I could. Like, I'd never done it before in my life. Right. I was just like, "Yeah, I'll do it," because I just wanted to be in a as soon as he said death metal, I was like, that's me. Like, this is it. Don't have to learn any instruments. So he was like, "Oh, right, well, do you want to just send us, like, can you record anything at home?" And I was like, "Yeah." I didn't know if I could. Like, I just kept saying yeah. And then so he was like, "Oh, can you just like record yourself singing a song or something, and then like send it to me over like Yahoo Messenger or whatever?" Because that's what we were using at the time. This is how long ago it was. It was like 2004. And so I gets home, and I goes upstairs, and my mum had this like really shitty like PC. And do you remember them? Do you remember them like desk microphones that were like a long stick with like those that you used for like AOL Messenger and Yahoo Chat and shit like that? So there was one of them, and I was like, "There's got to be a way that I can record myself singing." Right? So it was there was, what was that fucking thing on like Windows fucking 98 or whatever it was, when it was like, is it voice recorder? And you could record using that. So what I did was I started playing Ruin by Lamb of God, like on the stereo, and then I sang that into this fucking shitty mic and recorded it on fucking voice recorder. But it was like 8:30 at night, and we had neighbours, so I'm like trying to do it really quietly, so it's like proper shit, right? But I was like, yeah, fuck it, whatever, that'll be good. So I sent it him, and then like they were like, yeah. Gary's like, yeah, that's good, that's good, yeah, sick. Do you want to come down for an audition? So what I'm thinking is, nobody else applied. Nobody else applied, right? That's what I'm thinking. So then I goes down to his house where they're practicing, like on the weekend, to do like a live audition with him. And I walks in, and then that's where I met Sean, our guitarist. Because this band was Age of Suffering, which is the band that would eventually become Ingested, effectively. So I fucking goes there. I meet Sean for the first time. He's there with this giant fucking PC rich spiky beast guitar. Like, looked like he's out of fucking deicide. And then, so that's where I first met him. So then I sang Spheres of Madness by Decapitated, but with a Polish accent because I didn't realise that they were Polish, and I just thought that's how the song went. So and then that was it. I got the job. They offered me the spot as the vocalist for Age of Suffering. Then Gary left. We got another drummer called Alistair. And then my school friend from when we were like 10 years old, he's called Brad. He joined on bass guitar, and we played a few shows like around the UK. And then in 2006, we got Lynn as our drummer, scrapped all the old songs, and then changed the name to Ingested, and then the rest is, as they say, history.
That's awesome. I didn't know that. That is really awesome. And it all just came from you just saying yes, even though you didn't really, I guess, know what you were doing.
Yeah, I had no idea. I knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't know how to do it. But I was just like, yeah, I'll do it. I can do that. Yeah. And then basically since then, it's just been me learning on the job on how to do vocals.
Yeah. That's awesome, dude. That's actually super sick. That's an awesome story. So fast forward, I was told that you all have like great trust in each other when it comes like to the writing process, which is honestly quite wholesome to hear, because I feel like it's so easy for bands to really just like butt heads during like the writing process, right? Like, oh, I like my idea better, or I like my idea better, whatever. So I guess just like what got you all to that point to just feel fully confident in each other's work?
Just being together so long, I think. Just knowing who's got which strengths and who's got which weakness, and then working together and using our strengths so that the weaknesses are negligible, if you know what I mean. Like, we all know like what each one is good at and what we're not good at, so we use that in our writing process. And I mean, we do trust each other, but of course, like, every now and again there might be a bit where someone's stuck on one idea and somebody else really doesn't like it. Like, that still happens. Like, do you know what I mean? But it's not like it's not like it is like when you hear with other bands sometimes, where it's like they get into blazing rows about shit and stuff like that, because we're just like, well, I really like this, but we can try something else. Like, do you know what I mean? There's no heart. Like, we're so open-minded when it comes to our writing process that even if someone really likes a certain idea and somebody else doesn't, we'll still try something else just to see. Do you know what I mean? Because just to see if we can do something better. Because if we can't, then we'll just do the original idea. Do you know what I mean? It's not like...
Totally.
It's never a problem. Do you know what I mean? Well, we've been together so long now, and we spend so much time together, and we're so close. It's like we are a family, and it's you just have to trust each other, because we wouldn't have got this far if we didn't.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So it's just, that's just it. The three of us just click. We just know we're all on the same page when it comes to what we want to do with this band and what we want to achieve. So we just trust each other to do their part, and then when it all comes together, it fucking comes together, mate. Like, it's
totally. Yeah, absolutely. And so I guess, when you were 17 and 18, when Ingested was starting to become Ingested, how confident did you feel that you all were going to take it to where it is now?
We never thought that we'd get to where we are now, because we never thought about that.
Gotcha.
If you know what I mean. We never thought about it. We always believed in our music. Always. even when people were telling us, nah, you ain't shit, we were always like, nah, fuck you, man, this shit's fucking bomb.
Yeah.
Right?
Fuck yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We always believed in our music, and we always knew it was good. But we never thought we'd get to this point, like what we're doing now, just because we never thought about it. We never, I don't know, it's hard to explain. It was just sort of like, back then we were always like, we were just living in the moment. Do you know what I mean? We were never thinking about the bigger picture and we probably should have, because we'd have probably seen this success earlier if we'd have took it seriously, like a lot earlier, like straight from the start. But it was like, we were just having fun. We were just kids, and we were just having fun, and we were just making sick music that we loved. And we were just fucking enjoying every moment of it. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, like, we never really thought that it would be possible. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, we never thought that we'd be fucking going on tour with fucking Cannibal Corpse. Suffocation and Dying Fetus. Like, we never thought that. Like, we never thought that'd happen. Like, because they're like, because when you're a 17-year-old death metalhead, they're like, that's like the Mount Rushmore, innit? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, but yeah. But then again, like, I think because we didn't think, like, there's a part of me that thinks, like I said before, or maybe we should have thought about the bigger picture and took it more seriously straight from the start. But then again, I think if we did that, we wouldn't be the band that we are. Do you know what I mean? We wouldn't have been so raw and unfiltered and real. Do you know what I mean? Like, because we were just 5 council estate kids that fucking loved death metal and loved playing it and didn't give a fuck. Like, and we just went out there and just did it because for fun. Do you know what I mean? It weren't about money or anything. Like, it was just fun. So yeah, like, it's hard because it's like those two things that I just said. Then it's like, maybe we could have took it seriously. Maybe we'd have been more successful earlier. But then again, we wouldn't be who we are. Do you know what I mean? We might not be the same people. We might not be the same band. Like,
Totally.
So, yeah.
Yeah, and everybody's success story is different, right? I mean, there's more than one path to success.
Exactly.
And you know, I understand, you know, success doesn't come overnight either, right?
Yeah.
And how did y'all maintain that composure throughout, like, the first handful of years when y'all knew, okay, now we are going to be taking this serious, we're going on tour and everything and what have you?
Well, luckily, by that point, like, our drinking and, like, drug problems and shit, like, between the three of us, our various problems had all been put into check by that point.
Okay.
So by the time that we did start moving in the right direction, we were all way more level-headed. We'd all kind of got over the bump in life's road, so to speak. So we were all, like, in a way better state of mind, like, healthier, like, physically and mentally. So we were way more prepared for it. And by that point, we'd started taking it seriously as well, and, like, started being like, this is what we want to do. This is what we want to do. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so we can either be that band that plays a show to 50 people, like, once a weekend somewhere around the UK, or we can all quit our full-time jobs, jump into this with 2 feet and just take the risk. And, like, maybe in a couple of years we'll be playing in front of thousands of people. And luckily we were right.
Fuck yeah.
Luckily we were right. Like, so, but again, that's down to the hard work that we put in.
Right.
Like, we were just like, let's just fucking smash it. Let's get out there and show everyone what we're made of. and like
Absolutely.
show everyone who ever doubted us. Let's just stuff it right up their arse.
That's awesome. Fuck yeah. I love that mentality so much. I relate to that a lot. So the fact that you're saying that, I'm like, dude, fuck yes. Dude.
Yeah, man. You've got either, haven't you?
Yeah, dude. So let's pretend for a second that Ingested was a brand new band today, and you all are in your late teens, early 20s. What would be your approach to, becoming successful in today's metal scene?
Oh, probably start a YouTube channel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably start a YouTube channel. Like that would definitely be one. Learn social media, put a lot of effort into social media, because that is where it all is, to be fair. Like other than that, I mean, I wouldn't do much different than what we're doing right now, which is just playing shows, writing the best music that we can write, making sure that everybody that's part of our team is the right person, that they're in the right place, that we trust them, which is where we're at the moment. We've got such a sick team, and it's took years. It took years to find like the right people, but we've got them all. We've got them all in the right place, and it's like the support network that we do now have is fucking fantastic. So yeah, I wouldn't do much more different apart from the social media shit and YouTube channels. That'd be it, really. And that's more just boosting an online profile, isn't it? I mean, like, if you look at people like Will Ramos from Lorna Shore and Alex Terrible's a great example of like how you can really like boost your own profile, and with that the band's profile, which is obviously the most important thing, like through the power of tools like YouTube. Like, it's crazy. Those two are like genuine like celebrities now, like total superstars.
For sure.
And like, especially for Alex, it's like through his YouTube channel. Like, I've known Alex for a long time, and I remember when he was literally just posting covers in his bedroom on YouTube, and look at what he's doing now. He's on tour with Five Finger Death Punch and Marilyn Manson. It's amazing, so good. But yeah, that's all I'd do now. If we were starting right now, that's the only other two things that I'd change from what I'm doing now. I mean, like, now I hate social media so much, dude. Like, I can't be arsed with it. Like, I don't like that. It's like, if you look at my social media, like, the only one I have is Instagram. I have a YouTube channel from when I was doing streaming and shit, but like, it's like social media, I just barely ever post. I'll post fucking videos of me taking the piss out of toilets in tour venues, and that's it. I'm not joking. Yep. I'm not even joking.
I've seen it.
It's fucking like, that is all I do, and I only do that because it makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? I can't, like, I'm not one of these people who's like, oh, I've got to post this at 6 p.m. so it gets the most I don't care. I don't care. I'm a 37-year-old man. I don't give a shit about social media, man. I should. I should, because it would probably help my band out in the long run. But I just can't be arsed. Like, I'm a private person anyway. Like, do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I like to keep my life private, because it's like, obviously with being in a band, it's like you're putting yourself out there anyway. So it's like, there's just something, just part of me that I like to keep to myself, so I can have like a bit of like normality. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't really post shit on social media, but I definitely should. But I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I'm not. That's awesome. Oh my god, that's funny. That's great. I mean, I feel that, man. I feel that. Like, and I think what makes it even more difficult is that all like the algorithms, like, just it all changes. There's no consistency, and you have to be on top of that shit all the fucking time. If you do well, like 2 months ago, that's not going to be the fucking same right now. You know what I mean? That's the
But
crazy part about it.
it's like people get obsessed with it though.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then people are like, oh, they're obsessed with like posting certain things at certain times, and it's all for the algorithm. And I'm just like, do you know what? I don't need that in my life. I don't need that kind of stress in my life, man. Like, do you know what I mean? I've got 2 young kids. That's enough stress in my life.
Yeah.
No need to be worrying about appeasing the algorithm.
Right. And, you know, I guess that's the shitty part right now, right? Like, there's a lot of fantastic artists out there. I mean, regardless of the medium, music, whatever, that aren't getting the attention.
Yeah.
Man. And I guess that's like the shitty part right now. It's like, how do they get out there, even if they hate social media, or even if they're trying their asses off on social media, but they're still not getting that push? You know what I mean? That's weird.
I think the one thing that I always believe in, because I mean, the music industry is horrible. Like, it's just such a shit, like, ass backwards fucking industry. Like, do you know what I mean? Everyone's fucking taking their fucking pound of flesh out of people, and it's just horrible. Well, the one thing I always like, nothing's based on merit. Everything's all about fucking glad handing and back patting and fucking circle jerking and all that shit. Like, and like, as you can probably tell, I'm not the type of person to even fucking engage in any of that sort of like ass kissery. I can't be arsed with it. I'm just not about it. Like, which is probably another reason why it's took us so fucking long. But like, the one thing I will say is that the music will always out. Like, so regardless of how good you think a band is or how little attention they're getting, if they believe in their music and their music is good enough and they work hard, it will go well for them. It will eventually, because we're living proof. We're living proof of that. Like, if your music's good enough and you work hard as fuck, you will get success eventually. Like, it might take you longer, but you will get there. Because it's like, some bands get big off social media interest. Some bands get big off having that one hit song. Do you know what I mean? Because it does only take one song to make a band huge.
Right.
Because as soon as they have that one massive song, everybody will listen to anything that they put out after that. Like, but some bands, they have to work hard. Like, we're one of those bands. Like, we haven't had that big song yet. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't give a fuck about social media. So like, it's like we gotta work hard. We gotta work hard, and hopefully one day we'll write a fucking song that everybody fucking loves. Like, but until that day, we'll just continue working hard. But those are the 2 things that I think, regardless of all the shit in the music industry, regardless of all the fucking bullshit, all the snakes, all that wankery, if your music's good enough and you work hard, you will get success. 100%. Like, I have no doubt in that.
That's very motivating. That's motivating for me to hear, so thank you for that. That's great. And speaking of a particular song, I want to ask you a little bit of a selfish question here. This is just more of that I want to know. So I want to ask you a question about the first song I heard from you all, Narcissistic Apathy.
Yes.
I think I was a junior in high school when I first heard that song. And I remember thinking to myself, like, dude, this is the heaviest fucking song I ever fucking heard in my life. Like, holy shit. And because, like, I didn't know what slam was. I didn't know, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, previous to that, like, the heaviest bands that I knew were, like, Whitechapel, Job for a Cowboy and everything. But, like, Ingested was like, holy fuck, this takes it, like, this is an extra layer, you know what I mean? So what was the writing process for that song? And when I listened to it, I also watched the music video on YouTube. So what was the creative process for the music video?
Oh, the music video was sick. I can remember all the music video. So at the time, like, 3/5 of the band members, we all worked in restaurants. And so that's where the idea for that video came from. We were just like, what if we get everybody to come in, and it'll be like as if we're running a restaurant, and then we're feeding them human meat, but it's drugged, and then they then become the next meat for the next customers that come in. That's what the idea for that was. Yeah. But so it's like that constant cycle. It's just a constant cycle of murder. Like that. The song was just like, I can't remember exactly what it was that pissed me off so much. Because it was a long time ago when I wrote that. But something pissed me off, or someone pissed me off, like really badly. And I was just so fucking angry. And I was just like, I need to write a song while I'm this angry. Yeah. Like I'm like fucking burn the world down angry, like right now. Like, and that's what that song was. I was just like, let me just write this song about fucking destroying every fucking thing, like so angry. And that's what that song's about. That's why there's that line, like, and if the human race had one fucking neck, I'd have my hands around it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Line, isn't it? I was just like, I'm just so fuming. I just need to write a song right now. Like, I can't even remember what it was that annoyed me so much. Probably wasn't even that bad. Probably wasn't even that bad. God. That's fucking funny, dude. It's probably a customer at work at the time. Like, that's probably what it was. It's probably some dickhead telling me that the chicken's not cooked properly.
Right.
That's probably what it was. I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna kill everyone.
That's awesome.
But yeah, that's what it was. It was just fuming, just anger. It was just anger, that song. Like, I was just so angry.
So in the music video, like the restaurant, was that actually one of the restaurants y'all worked at?
No. So that was our friend's parents' restaurant.
Okay.
Because the restaurant that me and the other guitarist worked in at the time was like a really famous chain restaurant in the UK. Like I won't say what it is, but it fucking was a chicken chain restaurant, like really famous UK one. So obviously we wouldn't be able to film in there anyway because of all the branding and shit like that. That's all over the fucking place. So our friend, her parents owned a restaurant like round the corner, so we went and did it there. They let us use it for the day. They were just like, just make sure you cleaned up. Everything's cleaned up by 5 o'clock because that's when we're starting dinner service. And we were like, yeah, bet.
Yep. Totally. That's awesome. Okay. Well, I have a very serious question for you now.
Okay.
And this is probably going to be the most important question of the whole interview. Go on. Are you ready?
Hang on. I'll strap myself in. Go on.
Well, it seems like you're the guy to ask. So,
all right.
How do I make sure I have the best toilet experience when on tour?
Okay. Right. So, first, right. So when I'm reviewing these toilets, yeah, this is serious now. Now we're getting right into the weeds of it. So, what I do is, first off, is there any piss on the seat? That's gonna mark you down straight away because I fucking hate piss on the seat. There's no need for it. If you've got a wonky pee hole, sit down. That's the rule. Do you know what I mean, though? Like, if you can't piss in a straight line, sit the fuck down and piss. Like, it's fine. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Half of the population of the planet sit down to piss. So you can fucking do it for 2 minutes if your dick's crooked. Like, so that's number one, is the piss on the seat. Number two, is the seat sturdy? So is the seat on properly? Because if I can wobble it and it fucking falls off, then you fucked it. Right? And then, toilet paper. One, is there toilet paper? And two, what is the quality of the toilet paper? Because if it's that rough shit, or that shit that's been fucking recycled about 13 times, you know which one I'm talking about. The shit that feels like fucking sandpaper when you wipe your arse and then you get piles from the paper. Like, if you're getting piles, hemorrhoids from the fucking paper, don't use the paper. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it needs to be 2-ply at least, soft, thick. Give me some fucking Kleenex or some Charmin or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the other thing. And then after that, ambiance. What's the ambiance of the room like? What's the decor like? Is it nice? Is it well lit? Do you know what I mean? These are all things. Or does it smell? Does it smell? If it smells of shit before I've had a shit, shouldn't. Do you know what I mean? It just shouldn't.
Yeah.
It shouldn't smell like shit if there's no shit present.
Right.
So these are all the things. And then if all those things are in place, fucking perfect day. Perfect day. I'll give it a 10.
Yeah, dude.
I'd give it a 10. I've only ever seen a couple of 10s, and they were all in Scandinavia.
Interesting.
So something about Viking toilets. Do you know what I mean? Some of those Norse toilets, Norse cubicles, I like to call them.
Yeah. What's the worst toilet experience you've had? Well, worst bathroom experience you've had?
Worst. Oh, there's been loads. France is bad because they just don't have toilet seats in venues.
Oh, what?
Don't know why. They just don't have toilet seats in venues, so it's really annoying. So the rest of the toilet could be super nice, super clean, and then there's just no toilet seat ever. And it's on purpose as well. It's not like oh, the toilet seat fell off. It's like there's no toilet seats. There's none there. There was one in Hamburg on a day off. That was bad. There was shit everywhere. Shit all over the seat. Fucking blocked toilet. There was shit everywhere. It was like a blocked toilet that somebody had blocked with shit. And then somebody else had come in and gone, I think I'll have a shit on that. Like, and did a shit on top of it. And then it's just shit. It was like a fucking Big Mac of shit. Like, it was mental.
Jeez.
So that was bad. There was a really bad one when we were recording out. This was way before the time of the toilet reviews. When we were recording our first album, Surpassing the Boundaries of Human Suffering. So the recording studio was like in a fucking, it's like a fucking, I don't even know what it was like. It was like a garage in the middle of a farm in the middle of nowhere. So it had this recording studio in this like little outhouse building thing. And then the toilets were like a fucking, like a shipping container. It was like a shipping container with toilets in it. Like you'd have it like a festival or whatever, or a building site. And then, but it was like nobody had been in there for like 15 years.
Oh.
The lights don't work, so you can't go in there at night because you can't see shit. And there's, like, when I say there's spiders in there, it looked like Shelob's lair, man. Like, it was like, that bit in fucking Harry Potter where they're running through the tunnels and there's those spiders everywhere? It was like that. It looked like fucking Silent Hill. Like, we called it Silent Hill for ages. Like, and we wouldn't go to the toilet on our own. We always have to go in twos because it was just so horrible. Like, it was fucking hanging, and it was like, when I say spiders, I'm talking like,
jeez,
fucking this big everywhere. Trying to have a shit in there was fucking nightmare fuel, man. But yeah, that was one of the worst ones. But there's been loads of shit ones. There's been loads of terrible ones, man. There was one with a big hole, a big Silent Hill hole in the wall in Prague. Don't even know where that went. But yeah,
I remember seeing that on Instagram.
Yeah,
that was fun.
fucking don't even know. It just went on forever.
Fuck.
Like,
damn.
Literally, fucking horrible. Probably climb out and it'd be in Poland or something, like, fucking nuts.
Yeah. That's funny. All right. Well, shifting gears. Just in general, what scares you?
What scares me?
Mm-hmm.
Sharks, definitely. Sharks in
Yeah.
the sea is like my physical fear. But if we're talking not a physical fear, failing.
Okay.
Failing, like putting all my eggs into doing what we do and risking everything that we've risked and it not it not working, it not paying off. Do you know what I mean? I think that's a real fear. That's a proper fear. That keeps me up at night. Which is another reason why we work so hard. Like, why we make sure we work so hard. So we don't fail. Because there's so much at stake. Do you know what I mean? It's like, we've got wives and kids, families. Like, do you know what I mean? So we can't fail. Like, we can't let it happen. So
Yeah, and I guess just to go off that, like, I know what you're talking about, like with failure and, you know, in the grand scheme of things. How are you able to experience like little bits of failure that help you grow and actually help you go forward? Like, is that something that you're able to separate and be like, okay, I needed that failure in order to grow? Or does it all just bother you?
Yeah, of course. Of course. I'm talking about failure in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like complete catastrophic failure.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, I don't like little failures and things that don't work. I just see them as learning curves.
Yeah.
Because we're just like, but the thing is like, you won't learn how to do it right unless you do it wrong and it fails. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Because it's like, otherwise you won't know the right way of doing things. So everything like that, I just see as like learning curves. So maybe it might be something as simple as trying something out on stage, you know, like a bit of crowd work or whatever. Doesn't go down well. I'm like, all right, cool. So I know not to do that. I'll do it a different way. You know what I mean? When I'm talking about getting the crowd engaged and shit during a live show. Or it could be something like, all right, let's take a risk and do this type of merch. Like, let's do a t-shirt like this way. Something different. Fans don't like it and they don't buy it. Okay, cool. Right. We know that our fans don't like that. Right. Do you know what I mean? So these like little things like that I'm fine with. Because I think it builds you into a better performer and a better artist and a better businessman as well. Because obviously, like, you know, there is we're a metal band, but there's a business aspect to it. All those things are fine. Like, they're good. I want them things to happen, just so we know how to be better. But the failure I'm talking about is like abject failure.
Yeah.
like complete failure, like end of the band failure.
Yeah.
Before we've achieved what we want to achieve.
Yeah.
Because then it's sort of like, it's all for nothing. Do you know what I mean? Because then if the band ends, then we got to go back to normal life and try and get normal jobs, like late in our lives as well. Like, do you know what I mean? That shit ain't easy.
Right.
So that's the shit that I'm worried about. That's what scares me. But other than that, sharks. Sharks scare the shit out of me, bro. They're fucking terrifying. And the sea, I hate the sea so much. I don't like it. Like, I don't like it at all. Like, that shit fucking scares the shit out of me. I find them fascinating. I think sharks are cool as fuck. But fuck me, man. Like, especially when I'm like on my phone or whatever on YouTube, and then I like scroll, and then it's like shark, and I'm like, ah, like, and then I have to fucking like nearly throw my phone. Like, I hate them. Like,
damn.
Yeah, fuck that, man. Black eyes like a doll's eyes. Do you know what I mean? Do you remember Jaws?
Yeah.
Fucking terrifying.
Fucking A. I got one last question for you, man.
Yeah, man.
What's a life lesson that you've learned early on that still sticks with you to this day?
Just never give up, in the words of John Cena. Never give up. Like, just don't. Like, never give up. Because like I said earlier, like, we were told no, and told you're not good enough, and told we were shit, told that we never amount to nothing, so many times by so many people, like in the industry, especially in our country. Like, we were ignored for years and years and years. And like I said, that's enough to make other bands just crumble. Do you know what I mean? But we never did. Like, we never gave up, ever. And we never do. Like, we never ever give up. Like I said about growing up as well. Like growing up, council estate, working class, no money, no chance. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fucking also a metalhead as well, so got bullied to fuck, beat up to shit. Never gave up. Never ever gave up. Like, and like I'm so thankful for having that like personality trait, because I wouldn't be here doing what I'm doing, and I wouldn't be here fucking living my dream, basically. Do you know what I mean? It's not like yes, we've put a lot of work into it. Like, yes, we've earned everything we've got. Do you know what I mean? We've worked hard for it. But I totally understand that there's not many people who get to be in the position that we're in. So it's like, I'm so thankful for it. I'm so grateful for it. I'm grateful for all of our fans. I'm grateful for everything. But that is all because we never gave up. Ever.
Right.
Even when people were telling us the complete opposite, that we were shit. Like, acting like we didn't exist. And then we took all that, and then we smashed their fucking doors down until they couldn't ignore us anymore, because now we're in their face. Like,
Fuck yeah.
but yeah, it's because we never gave up. Like, I know it's a cliche. I know it's John Cena's favourite fucking catchphrase, but it's true. Just always believe in what you're capable of doing.
If you enjoyed this episode, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button to stay on top of new episodes of Inside the Wounds.